Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes, bienvenidos y bienvenidas a esta segunda reunión del año virtual del Instituto de Investigación en Historia del Derecho. Hoy estamos acá para conversar sobre la historia del derecho en tres países, en Italia, en Polonia y en Argentina. Tres profesores, tres investigadores de historia del derecho van a exponer hoy sus experiencias, sus preocupaciones, sus desvelos acerca del estado de la disciplina en cada uno de sus respectivos países. Hoy vamos a tener una reunión multilingüe, en la que vamos a estar alternando entre el castellano, el inglés y el español. Así que primero va a hablar Emanuela Fugazza, después va a hablar el profesor Tomasz de Polonia y finalmente va a hablar la doctora Rosario Polotto de Argentina. Así que sin más prolegómenos, voy a pasar a presentar a nuestra primera expositora, la doctora Emanuela Fugazza. La doctora Fugazza es profesora asociada de Historia del Derecho Medieval y Moderno en el Dipartimento di Giurisprudenza dell'Università di Pavia. Ha publicado libros y ensayos sobre la historia del derecho medieval y la historia del derecho contemporáneo. Sus intereses académicos se relacionan sobre todo con la historia de los estatutos de las ciudades comunales, la historia de la justicia en la edad comunal y en la edad señoril y la historia del derecho comercial. Sus obras son Diritto, Istituzioni e Giustizia in un comune dell'Italia padana, Piacenza e i suoi statuti 1135-1323, lo Statuto di Piacenza del 1323, tra liberalismo e solidarismo, il lungo percorso scientifico di Ercole Vidari, entre otros. Es integrante de proyectos de investigación nacionales e internacionales, entre los que se encuentra un proyecto en desarrollo sobre patrimonios y movilidades en el siglo XIX. Doctora Fugazza, el piso es suyo. Adelante. Perché io non posso.
I'm recording now. I'm recording now.
Grazie.
I will go on. Ok. Dicevo che questa disposizione risale a luglio del 2022, quindi è passato meno di un anno. L'ASDIM non è l'unica associazione degli storici del diritto in Italia, perché esiste anche la SISD, che unisce anche i romanisti, cioè gli storici del diritto romano. L'anno scorso è iniziato un processo di separazione, ma non è su questo profilo che intendo soffermarmi, perché mi interessa un altro aspetto oggi, che è quell'articolo dello statuto che ho citato prima. Quei verbi, valorizzare e difendere, dicono molto dello stato in cui versa la storia del diritto in Italia. L'Associazione degli Storici del Diritto Medievale Moderno, un anno fa, quando si è costituita, ha avvertito la necessità di stabilire nel proprio statuto che tra i suoi scopi c'è anche quello di difendere il proprio ruolo nella formazione del giurista, come se quel ruolo fosse in discussione. E infatti pochi mesi prima c'era stato il tentativo di ridimensionare drasticamente il peso della storia del diritto nei dipartimenti di giurisprudenza. Un rischio che però è stato sventato. Un ridimensionamento ci sarà, ma avrà conseguenze meno radicali di quanto si temesse all'inizio. Nei prossimi mesi verrà approvato un nuovo piano di studi per il corso di laurea in giurisprudenza, nel quale le materie storiche avranno un peso minore di adesso, ma il ridimensionamento sarà minimo. La stessa ansia di riforma in Italia c'era stata circa 30 anni fa. Era il 1994, quando il ministro dell'istruzione nominò diverse commissioni di esperti per rivedere i piani di studio delle facoltà di giurisprudenza. Ma allora, 30 anni fa, romanisti e storici del diritto medievale moderno conseguirono un grande risultato, perché le discipline storiche in quella riforma furono considerate fondamentali e divennero obbligatorie nel piano di studi per conseguire la laurea in giurisprudenza. Vorrei ricordare le parole di Paolo Grossi, che è stato uno dei più grandi, scomparso un anno fa, è stato uno dei più grandi storici del diritto italiani e anche presidente della Corte Costituzionale italiana. E all'epoca parlò di salvataggio culturale. Paolo Grossi nel 94 scrisse che fare delle materie storiche materie fondamentali significava cogliere e capire il diritto nella sua essenza e nelle sue radici. Sono passati 30 anni da quella riforma e da quelle importanti riflessioni e ancora una volta la storia del diritto deve difendersi e giustificare il suo ruolo nella formazione del giurista. In Italia la storia del diritto sta attraversando una profonda riflessione su se stessa, sulla sua identità. Tant'è vero che a fine maggio, è stato organizzato un congresso in occasione del quale noi storici del diritto saremo chiamati a ragionare e discutere su questioni centrali, cruciali, che investono l'identità della nostra disciplina. Ho riportato alcune domande alle quali in quel congresso noi dovremo dare una risposta. Di cosa si occupa la storia del diritto? Quali sono i limiti cronologici e quale la prospettiva geografica? Quali sono i metodi che caratterizzano l'indagine storico-giuridica rispetto ad altri approcci? Questi interrogativi mi permettono di fare oggi con voi alcune riflessioni critiche. In Italia, negli ultimi 20 anni, il baricentro delle ricerche storico-giuridiche si è decisamente spostato verso l'età contemporanea. Questo non è un limite, anzi, è importante che ci sia un dialogo continuo con i giuristi positivi, cioè i giuristi che studiano il diritto vigente. E appunto la storia del diritto può dare un contributo fondamentale per capire il presente giuridico. Però, fatta questa doverosa premessa, io credo che si debba recuperare e rinnovare lo studio delle fonti medievali, che hanno ancora molto da svelare, sia per quanto riguarda l'alto medioevo, sia per quanto riguarda il basso medioevo. In questo mio intervento intendo ragionare brevemente sullo stato dell'arte che riguarda la giustizia medievale, perché ancora oggi in Italia l'approccio a questo campo di ricerche risente ancora pesantemente di una tradizione giuridica antica che dovrebbe essere superata. Un tema, quello della giustizia medievale, che mi consente peraltro di gettare lo sguardo sull'Università di Pavia e su uno dei più grandi maestri della storia del diritto italiani, professor Antonio Padoa-Schioppa, che si laureò a Pavia nel 1961 e lì, e da noi qui a Pavia, insegnò storia del diritto per 10 anni. Padoa-Schioppa fin da subito avvertì come necessario, imprescindibile, lo studio della prassi documentale e in particolare avvertì come necessario lo studio degli atti giudiziari. E proprio grazie allo studio degli atti giudiziari ha rinnovato profondamente le ricerche sulla giustizia medievale, tanto da inaugurare una tendenza destinata a imporsi su scala europea. Ebbene, in quelle ricerche di Antonio Padoa-Schioppa si sente l'eco delle parole di Francesco Carnelutti, grande maestro del diritto processuale civile italiano, il quale negli anni 50 del Novecento scrisse, sottolineò l'importanza di rivalutare il ruolo del giudice e del giudizio, quest'ultimo inteso come vera cellula del diritto. Attraverso una ricognizione, uno studio degli atti giudiziari, Antonio Padoa-Schioppa ha messo in discussione una lunga tradizione di studi e ci ha restituito l'immagine di un processo medievale profondamente diversa da quella che era stata tramandata da un'antica tradizione. Ricordo in sintesi alcuni caratteri del processo medievale così come tramandato da quella antica tradizione. Pubblicità e oralità del procedimento, un sistema probatorio peculiare, definito irrazionale, perché basato sull'uso delle ordalie e del giuramento. L'idea che lo scopo del processo non fosse quello di attribuire all'uno o all'altro dei litiganti la ragione e il torto, ma quello di porre fine alla faida, cioè alla vendetta tra i diversi clan, tra le diverse famiglie. E ancora, l'idea che il giudice avesse ridimensionato il proprio ruolo a quello di mero arbitro. Ebbene, Antonio Padoa-Schioppa ha potuto dimostrare che in realtà nel processo medievale si faceva amplissimo uso della testimonianza, dei documenti e della inquisitio. In un processo longobardo, siamo nell'8° secolo d.C., Antonio Padoa-Schioppa ha rinvenuto la prima traccia di inquisitio, che può essere definita come un provvedimento d'ufficio per la ricerca degli elementi di prova. E ha dimostrato anche che il giuramento veniva sì utilizzato, ma non come quell'antica tradizione aveva insegnato, perché non aveva efficacia decisiva, ma serviva semplicemente a evitare future contestazioni. Grazie agli studi di Antonio Padoa-Schioppa, dunque, la tradizione, la ricostruzione storica tradizionale iniziava ad assumere i contorni di un antico retaggio che vi era stato trasmesso da una generazione all'altra di studiosi senza alcuna valutazione critica. Altro elemento che Padoa-Schioppa scardinò: il giudice medievale non era un mero arbitro, ma era dotato di un ampio potere di valutazione. Ebbene, alla luce di quegli studi incisivi di Padoa-Schioppa, sarebbe legittimo pensare a un definitivo abbandono di quella antica tradizione. E invece oggi in Italia così non è, perché nella storia della giustizia medievale quella antica tradizione esercita ancora un'influenza enorme. Ecco allora, e mi avvio a concludere, oggi che la storia del diritto in Italia sta attraversando una fase di profonda riflessione su se stessa, credo che sia il caso di recuperare lo studio della storia giuridica medievale e in particolare lo studio della giustizia medievale, superando con decisione e senza più remore antichi retaggi storiografici e abbracciando molti spunti metodologici offerti anche dalle indagini di Padoa-Schioppa. Concludo osservando che se si abbandonasse lo studio del diritto medievale per assecondare le esigenze dei giuristi positivi, cioè dei giuristi che studiano il diritto vigente, in Italia un patrimonio ricchissimo di fonti rischierebbe di essere dimenticato. E invece, come viene sottolineato da più parti, è doveroso il recupero filologico e critico delle fonti che il Medioevo ci ha lasciato, applicando il metodo rigoroso che tanti maestri ci hanno insegnato. Grazie per la vostra attenzione.
Grazie Emanuela, grazie mille, è stato chiarissimo. Adesso quedan unos minutos, así que si les parece, dejamos las preguntas para el final. Las preguntas las dejamos para el final, los comentarios, y entonces ahora voy a pasar a presentar a el expositor que sigue, que probablemente el tiempo nos alcance solamente para la presentación y que luego la exposición la tenga que hacer después del corte. Tomasz, what I was telling the audience was that there are some, not many minutes left, so I will go ahead to introduce you, and probably you will have to start after this first part of the Zoom will be over, ¿ok? Bueno, entonces voy a presentar a nuestro expositor, el que sigue, que es Tomasz Kucharski, no sé si pronuncio bien el apellido, es profesor adjunto en el Departamento de Historia de las Doctrinas Político-Legales y Derecho Alemán en la Facultad de Derecho y Administración de la Nicolaus Copernicus University en Torun, Polonia. La universidad es la Universidad de Torun en Polonia, en la ciudad de Torun, pero se llama Nicolás Copérnico. En 2017 defendió su tesis doctoral sobre las elecciones en las dietas del Commonwealth polaco-lituano en el período 1632-1733. Es autor de más de 20 artículos publicados en revistas científicas polacas e internacionales. Desde 2018 ha sido miembro del equipo de investigación sobre fideicomiso familiar en Polonia en el período de entreguerras. Sus áreas de investigación incluyen la historia del sistema parlamentario y las elecciones reales en el Commonwealth polaco-lituano 1569-1795, relaciones Iglesia y Estado y tolerancia religiosa en Europa entre 1500 y 1800, organización del sistema de administración de justicia alemán y polaco en el período de entreguerras, entre otros temas. Hecha esta presentación, entonces le voy a dar el uso de la palabra al doctor Kucharski, y cuando falten algunos minutos le voy a avisar para que vayamos a la segunda parte. Tomasz, with this introduction, I will give you the floor. You can go ahead and start, and then when I see that there are only 2 minutes left, I will let you know. And I will make you a host. Hold on. Emanuela.
Sì, tocca a me.
You have to make him host.
And how can I do it?
Okay, stand on your name, and you will see that when you will see 3 points.
Okay, yeah.
And then I believe there is another word like recover host or something like that. Can you see that?
No, there's not.
Okay, let me see.
Viviana.
Reclaim host, okay.
Yes.
Ya sé, ahí veo.
Ahí está. Ahí está.
Adesso, ok, listo. Bueno. A ver, lo voy a me dice que le devuelva. A ver, voy a ver si lo puedo poner. Make host, ahí está. Sí. Okay, go ahead, Tomasz. Excuse me. You are the host now. You can share the screen. But you are muted. No, we can listen to you. Turn on the microphone.
Oh, there it is. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, maybe in Poland, because there is after 8 p.m. right now in my country. Thank you very much for this opportunity, especially to Viviana Kluger. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you a few of my or our Polish experiences on legal history education, or maybe about the position and the role of legal history education in overall legal education in Poland. As you can see, I hope so, my presentation will consist of 4 parts. I will try to show you a few general remarks on what is the position and what is the role of legal history in few Polish legal faculties. I want to give you a proper context. I don't want to focus just on my own university, so I will use 2 other examples. And after that, I will try to show you how we teach today, because this is what we talked with Viviana. This is probably the most important part of this little speech. The third part is especially important for me. It is the few remarks on what we should improve, what we should change, why our current state of teaching legal history is not adequate and is not effective enough, and it's not popular enough. And the fourth part is just this little introduction, some kind of a map of Polish research today. This is something for you to maybe be oriented what we do in Poland when we deal with legal history. So first of all, a little bit about programs. 3 examples, as I told you. First one is University of Warsaw. This is the most prominent, probably, and the most the biggest of Polish legal faculty. You have to understand that, for example, they admit about 500 students per year at legal faculty. My university admit something over 200 students per year. So you can see that this is quite bigger faculty. On my faculty, there are 90 employees, researchers and teachers. University of Warsaw employs about 400. So the difference is quite visible. And 2 things in general that you have to know. First is you can see even on this board that we've got something that is called theoretical lecture, and that there is something that I called a practical class. This should be essential difference between various forms of or various ways of teaching many classes. Unfortunately, in Poland, this is just a facade. Most of the time, those practical classes are just theoretical lectures, and there is no essential difference. Nowadays, we try to change it. We try to really do more practical discussions, solving cases, making students talk about complicated issues and learn to think and learn to use the proper argumentation. But this is not quite popular. The second issue that you can probably figure out by seeing this board before your eyes, there are classes that are obligatory, and there are classes that are not obligatory, that are for students to be chosen from. And this is obviously the result of ETCS system. You're probably familiar with this solution. It is a European credit transfer system. It basically allows students to shape and to organize their own studying program by their own. They can choose their subjects, they can choose their courses and classes. Not all of them, obviously, it is not completely freely to be done, but there is this space for students to personalize their studying process. And you have to understand that, I don't know if in your countries there is this much more centralized system. In Poland, the autonomy of every single university is really stressed out and really confirmed. So every single legal faculty introduce its own unique solutions and its own unique ideas. And as you can see, for University of Warsaw, there are two classical obligatory courses. First of all is Roman law with Roman tradition. This is the unique idea for the subject. And the second subject is just this huge gathering of many various ideas and many various topics. This is history of constitutional law, administrative law, civil law, and criminal law in one classes, in one course, from the Middle Ages to the Second World War. So these are obligatory studies, and University of Warsaw is interesting because it allows students to choose other small, really specialized subjects. You can see a few of them on the board. I was not able to show all of them. I wasn't even able to count them properly. I think there is something above 30 historical subjects to be selected. And these are really, really subjects that are organized to fit not only students' expectations, but also teachers' spheres of interest. So they propose subjects because they like something, or they want to talk about the research or the spheres of their interest. And this is really important because University of Warsaw allows older students, more advanced students, during their third, fourth, fifth year to enjoy and to be part of legal historian classes. In other Polish universities, for example, in my university, I will talk about it in a moment. In other Polish universities, the contact of students with legal history is finished after the first year of study. So we don't have this opportunity to talk to.
Excuse me, the recording was stopped and the Zoom stopped without letting me know that there were a couple of minutes left. So I couldn't let you know that the Zoom was going to be over. Excuse me very much. So let's wait a couple of minutes so to make the other attendants enter the Zoom, and we will resume your presentation.
Viviana,
Sí.
vos tenés ahí en seguridad, podés habilitar para que compartan pantalla sin pasar el hosting.
Ay, ¿cómo es?
¿Ves que dice seguridad?
¿En dónde?
Abajo.
Sí, security, sí.
Entonces security pone abrila y decir share,
Share whiteboards. No.
share no, screen.
Share screen. Ok, y ya está, y con eso ya pueden compartir.
Que pruebe, pero ya está.
Ok, y puedo grabar. Ok, listo. Ok.
Grabando ya está.
Gracias, gracias. So, bueno, bienvenidos entonces a esta segunda parte de esta presentación sobre la historia del derecho en Italia, en Polonia y en Argentina, a cargo de Emanuela Fugazza por Italia, Tomasz Kucharski por Polonia y María Rosario Polotto por Argentina. El doctor Kucharski estaba hablando sobre la historia del derecho en Polonia, había hecho una primera aproximación acerca de la historia del derecho en la Universidad de Varsovia, así que ahora le paso el piso a él para que continúe con su presentación. Tomasz, you can go on, the floor is yours. Please bear in mind that you have only 20 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much. I remember, obviously. Now, a few words about University of Gdańsk. This is smaller unit, really similar to my university in Toruń. These are my friends. This is important too, because I have this inside knowledge from them. University of Gdańsk is really important because reforms of studying programs in last few years tried to reshape this curriculum to make it more practical. So this is one of those universities in Poland that try to completely eliminate legal history, maybe without proper success, but there was the attempt. So this is an example of university when legal history is strictly served only to the first year students. There is no contact with legal history after finishing the first year of studies. And we've got, again, two main obligatory subjects, proper Roman law and history of law, which is history of constitutional law, administrative law, criminal law, and civil law in one place from the Middle Ages to the 20th century. And next to it, we've got three subjects to be chosen from. Two of them are historical, one is non-historical, introduction to the comparative law. Two others, one of them is the history of legal doctrines. This is some kind of history of legal philosophy. And the second one is an attempt to implement the concept of Patrick Glenn. I don't know if you are familiar with his work. He's he wrote this interesting book, Legal Traditions of the World, and this is an attempt to implement this book into the proper lecture. And this is all about University of Gdańsk. My university, Nicolaus Copernicus University. We are called Nicolaus Copernicus University because Nicolaus Copernicus was born in Torun, so we are very proud, and he is the symbol of our community. And as you can see, we've got much more historical subjects for the students during the first year, but the number of teaching hours is really small. This is inconvenient. I would prefer less amount of subjects, but more hours to develop the topics. We've got a history of state structures, history of law, which is history of criminal law and civil law. We've got obviously traditional Roman law, and we've got this history of legal doctrines, this history of legal philosophy. And obviously Roman law is connected to this separate subject on Latin legal terminology. And these are obligatory subjects. We've got obviously also subjects, classes to be selected from. And this is a little bit complicated. This is not classes to be chosen, because in my university, students need to choose the whole block, the whole section. And in this block, we've got a few classes. When you choose the whole section, the whole block, you need to pass every class that is put into this general category. And first three of those subjects that you can see on the board, these are this is a separate historical block for the first year students. And two last one, the history of criminal law and the history of civil law doctrine in 19th and 20th century. These are parts of criminal law block and civil law block from the second year of study. So students have the contact with legal history during the second year of study. And that's all. There is no more legal history in my university. A few general ideas. This is the classes on history of legal structures. I want to talk about these classes because I have the honor to conduct the practical studies and some lectures within this course. And these are a few general assumptions about this particular course. As you can see, the idea is that it should be chronologically complete. From the Middle Ages to the 20th century, everything should be analyzed without any selection, without any hierarchy, without assuming that something is more important than the other idea. Obviously, there is this tendency to deal with European countries separately. So we've got history of German state structures and France and England and Italy and Russia and Poland, obviously. There is no comparative elements. There is no an attempt to build these commonalities or to try to find this a common core of those for those countries. After that, there are no focus on general principles or philosophical ideas. This is really technical. I really don't like it in these classes, because we need to focus on formal characteristics of some constitutional acts, and we are not allowed to build those commonalities. And obviously we've got those remnants of Marxism. It is not a proper using of Marxist philosophy. It is just those relics from previous times. It's not consciously done. It is just a problem of historical heritage. And our problem is the teaching method. As I told you, most of the time there is one-sided lecture, and there is not enough interactive contact with students, and students are not solving problems. They try to memorize the complicated knowledge. That's why they really don't like legal history, and they don't see the value in it, because they think that it's all about memorizing dry facts, and it's not about solving problems and understand processes and understand evolution for legal principles and legal institutions and so on. So there are obviously ideas to change that. I don't have enough time to explain all of it because of 20 minutes, the time limit. So obviously, many of my colleagues, me included, we try to limit these lectures only to 18th to 20th century. I am historian of 17th century myself. It breaks my heart that we should cut the earlier periods, but I think it is what we should do. We should focus on the general principles of evolution, of general ideas. If we should not focus on every single country and every single constitutional act, we should try to find commonalities. We should do this really in a way that is purely comparative, because this separation of countries is not working good enough, and we need more interactive classes. We need to focus on demanding the personal work and personal growth from our students. And this is the general idea of my own syllabus. I am experimenting with it from 2 years now. It is really dry and it is really rough. I don't have obviously enough time to deepen it and to explain it properly, but as you can see, I really try to focus on general evolution and shaping of general ideas, main principles of the legal system. I don't know, separation of power, or Republican form of government, or maybe evolution of equality in electoral law, and so on. General ideas that are most controversial and most difficult and most complex. I don't want to focus on details. What is really essential for me is including history of international law, history of colonialism, history of European integration. This is something that is non-existent in our approach to the legal history, and I think that it needs to change. This is our reality. So we need to know how it came to be, from where it came, and how it happened that our reality is shaped just like that. And Exactly the same is with the history of law. I don't have enough time to explain it, but the problem is completely similar. We try to analyze everything from Hammurabi Code and from 12 tables in Roman law to the 20th century for every single country: Germany, England, France, Austria, Poland, Russia. So we concentrate mostly on formal characteristics of every single code. We need date, we need creators, and we need some information about structure of the code. We don't have enough time to deeply analyze main principles, main ideas, and legal institutions. So this needs to be changed in the future. And obviously we need a more practical approach to the classes. We need to work and interact with students. They need to work with historical sources. And this is what we try to do. We try to build databases with materials for students, and I hope in few years it will be effectively reshaping and changing our current situation. And the last part of my presentation, I promised you that I will talk a little bit about our Polish research on legal history. So first of all, as you can see probably on this board, we are focusing mostly on Polish legal history. It is not that we are nationalists and we don't appreciate another cultures and another countries. It is mostly about funding. It is really hard to obtain enough money to go abroad and spend months or years abroad and obtain enough source material. It is easier for us to collect our Polish materials. It's changing, but slowly. As you can see, probably this is the last point on the board. There are some researchers that deal with English law, English common law. It's all about occasion to obtain sources. England built great databases. As you probably know, many records could be obtained online, so this is profitable for our researchers. There is obviously strong school that demands to do research on old Polish and or old Polish-Lithuanian law from before 1795. This is really difficult area because you need to obtain old records, and it is hard to do. But it is popular among Polish researchers. Most of the focus from researchers of younger and middle generation is focusing on the more modern period between 18th and 20th century. There is many practical research based on real court records from archives about civil law and criminal law in 19th and the beginning of 20th century. We've got very promising research on socialist law, and we've got, this is last 10 years maybe, we've got really interesting research on Nazi German occupation in Poland, especially how German tried to implement their criminal law upon Polish people. German left many great materials, and this is not so great because of the regime, but great because it's very informative. So this is really a popular tendency to deal with this type of sources. I exceeded my time limit. I'm really sorry. So that's all from me. thank you very much one more time for this opportunity, and thank you for letting me be here. I'm a little bit sad that I don't know well enough Italian and Spanish to be this active participant. Maybe this is the motivation to learn a new foreign language. Thank you very much one more time.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Tomasz, for your presentation. And now we will let María Rosario Polotto speak about legal history in Argentina. Ahora María Rosario Polotto va a hablar sobre la historia del derecho en Argentina. María Rosario Polotto es abogada y doctora en ciencias jurídicas por la Universidad Católica Argentina. Actualmente se desempeña como profesora con dedicación especial y es docente de Historia del Derecho y Metodología de la Investigación en la Facultad de Derecho de la Universidad Católica Argentina. También desarrolla actividades docentes en grado y posgrado en la Universidad de Buenos Aires, en el Museo Social Argentino y en la UCES. Sus líneas de investigación abarcan los campos del derecho privado y de la historia del derecho de fines del siglo XIX y primera mitad del XX, con especial énfasis en el proceso codificatorio, la formación del pensamiento civilístico y los procesos de recepción y circulación de ideas y modelos jurídicos en el espacio iberoamericano. Rosario, adelante, por favor. No sé si querés compartir pantalla.
Bueno, buenas tardes. No, yo voy a usar el Prezi, entonces tendrían que tener en la visión del hablante, en the speaker view.
Ah, a ver, espera.
Vos, cada uno
Sí,
se
sí.
pone speaker view.
Yo tengo que poner speaker. Ahí está.
Bueno, buenas tardes. Para mí es una alegría muy grande estar acá en el instituto, aunque sea en forma virtual. Agradecer también al instituto este honor de poder expresar, hacer esta síntesis sobre nuestras investigaciones y estudios de historia del derecho. En especial le quiero agradecer a la doctora Viviana Kluger por esta invitación. Y bueno, y además compartir esta reunión con nuestros colegas de Italia y de Polonia, que la verdad que, bueno, muy honrada. Y bueno, brevemente, para hacer esta síntesis, yo estuve escuchando con mucha atención a nuestros colegas, así que después en todo caso podemos ampliar un poquito más, pero voy a presentar una pequeña presentación donde me voy a estructurar la síntesis que voy a hacer en estos 4 ejes. 4 ejes que giran en torno al sentido de escuela que implican los estudios y usos historiográficos en Argentina, la dimensión institucional de estos, la presencia curricular y los desafíos actuales en nuestros estudios. Bien, para 2 segunditos. Para ir a la primera cuestión, quiero destacar que los que cultivamos la historia del derecho en la Argentina no reconocemos herederos de una larga tradición disciplinar que se remonta a fines del siglo XIX. Ustedes acá vemos la figura de Agustín García, que por ahí, por el año 1896, él asume la cátedra de de Introducción al Derecho, en un marco de replanteos epistemológicos provenientes de las ciencias sociales que pretendían superar en la Facultad de Derecho, sobre todo de la Universidad de Buenos Aires, pero también en la de Córdoba, superar el examen meramente exegético que se hacía del derecho, incluyendo el análisis social. Y acá hay dos figuras claves, que son el que vemos en la fotografía, Juan Agustín García y Carlos Bunge. Ambos promovieron los estudios históricos relacionados con el derecho desde esta cátedra de introducción al derecho. Pero fue sin duda la labor de Ricardo Levene, también profesor de introducción al derecho en la Universidad de Buenos Aires, y figura clave de un movimiento que se llamó la Nueva Escuela Histórica, quien puso los cimientos de esta disciplina, destacándose sus estudios en el campo del derecho indiano y de la historia patria. Él no solo impulsará la creación del Instituto de Historia del Derecho en la Facultad de Derecho de Buenos Aires, sino que también plasmará alianzas con destacados investigadores de otros países, en particular con el español Rafael de Altamira. Posteriormente se destaca la tarea que llevó a cabo el doctor Ricardo Sorraquín Becú, con quien la historia del derecho ya va a gozar de una autonomía curricular. Todos estos también en la Facultad de Derecho de Buenos Aires. Se amplía también la red internacional, impulsando la creación del Instituto Internacional de Historia del Derecho Indiano. Asimismo, inspirado en los planteos metodológicos del profesor Alfonso García Gallo, que consideraba la historia del derecho como una disciplina jurídica, se avanzó hacia su consolidación epistemológica. Acá en esta época hubo varios trabajos. Yo lo veo ahí al doctor Martiré, uno la reflexión también, trabajos de él sobre la estructura disciplinar de la historia del derecho, que bueno, fueron claves para esta época. En la década del 70 se funda el instituto, nuestro Instituto de Investigaciones de Historia del Derecho, donde Sorraquín Becú va a ser su primer director, y luego el que está a la izquierda, la fotografía a la izquierda es Sorraquín Becú, y va a ser seguido luego por Mariluz Urquijo, que la foto la tenemos a la derecha. Bueno, y ya a partir de la década de los 80, de la centuria pasada, impulsado por la renovación de los estudios ius historiográficos, todos conocemos figuras claves como Paolo Grossi, que fue citado anteriormente, Antonio Manuel España, Helmut Kohl en Alemania, Bartolomé Clavrero, por ejemplo, en España. Los estudios historiográficos adquieren una nueva envergadura y apertura a otras disciplinas jurídicas, históricas y sociales. En nuestro caso, una figura clave fue la de Víctor Tahuanzuategui, que se desempeñó desde el año 2002 como director del Instituto de Investigaciones de Historia del Derecho, que, bueno, permitió la apertura a estas nuevas orientaciones historiográficas. Y bueno, que lamentablemente falleció el año pasado. También acá es un periodo donde se profundizan los lazos con otros académicos e instituciones latinoamericanas y europeas, que después vamos a ver un poquitito más. Yendo ya a la dimensión institucional, esto para nosotros es muy importante porque nuestros estudios e investigaciones han tenido y tienen una estructura institucional que les ha permitido perpetuarse en el tiempo y también enfrentar importantes desafíos muy parecidos a los que señalaban nuestros colegas. Sobre todo el embate, la crisis que hay en cuanto, ciertos cuestionamientos en cuanto a la vigencia de estos estudios en la currícula de las facultades de Derecho. Como ya lo he señalado, en el año 1936 Ricardo Levene funda en la Facultad de Derecho y Ciencias Sociales de la Universidad de Buenos Aires el Instituto de Historia del Derecho, lo que permitió un impulso muy importante a los estudios ius historiográficos y su comunicación a través de una revista que hoy podemos acceder en forma online, que es la revista de Historia del Derecho de Ricardo Levene. En el año 1973, y a instancias de Ricardo Sorraquín Becú, se funda el instituto, nuestro instituto, Instituto de Investigaciones de Historia del Derecho, que tiene su sede en el emblemático edificio de la Inmobiliaria en Avenida de Mayo, y que no solamente nuclea a investigadores de todas partes del país, sino también se destaca por su biblioteca, por la publicación de la revista de Historia del Derecho, que tiene acceso abierto y está indizada en las principales bases nacionales e internacionales. Además de estas reuniones de trabajo que lleva adelante muy bien Viviana, cada 2 años se celebran, y desde 1967 se celebran ya, que es una institución, las jornadas de historia del derecho. Y por último, está también la Asociación de Profesores e Investigadores de Historia del Derecho, que desde el año 2005 se preocupa fundamentalmente por fortalecer los aspectos pedagógicos y curriculares de nuestra disciplina, también tiene sus jornadas, y también, aunque no son del ámbito argentino, o sea, esto excede el ámbito argentino, pero me quiero referir brevemente al Instituto Internacional de Historia del Derecho Indiano, que, bueno, fue creado a instancias de Sorraquín Becú, Alamiro de Ávila Martel y Alfonso García Gallo, y que tiene por objetivo promover los estudios de derecho indiano, y que también celebra congresos periódicamente. La importancia de todas estas instituciones no es solamente fortalecer los estudios, o sea, apuntalar los estudios historiográficos, sino también crear unas redes importantes de investigadores, que creo que es una de las objetivos principales, ¿no? Bueno, yendo un poco explicando la presencia curricular que tiene nuestra disciplina, como ya he señalado anteriormente, la disciplina se origina y se consolida en las facultades de Derecho y tiene las dificultades que señalaron también nuestros colegas, ¿no? El tema de facultades que actualmente se están haciendo más profesionales, bueno, hay todo un cuestionamiento acerca de la presencia de materias que tiendan a la formación general, pero lo cierto es que si bien a pesar de todo eso, tiene una presencia importante en varias facultades del derecho del país, ya sea como materias obligatorias, como es en el caso de la facultad en la cual yo doy clases en la Universidad Católica, o como materia optativa, por ejemplo, en la Universidad de Buenos Aires. Pero también es interesante porque hay una preocupación sobre los estudios historiográficos también en las carreras de historia. Las carreras de historia quizás más acotado, más puntualizado, hay algunos cursos, muchas veces en el posgrado, sobre todo en el doctorado, que tienden a analizar cuestiones ius historiográficas. En el caso de la formación jurídica, hoy en día la historia del derecho es un contenido curricular básico de la carrera de abogacía, de acuerdo a los organismos estatales nuestros. Esto no significa que obligatoriamente tenga que estar en todas las currículas de todas las facultades, sino que se puede elegir entre otras disciplinas, pero muchos también, gracias a este soporte institucional, se han han elegido esta disciplina de historia del derecho, o con nombres similares, historia de las instituciones, pero generalmente tiene este nombre, historia del derecho. Y bueno, como yo ya dije, es una materia que se imparte tanto en el grado como en el posgrado. Y lo interesante es que esta disciplina guarda en su desarrollo, por lo menos en líneas generales, un esquema que ya viene heredado de la época de Levenes y consolidado de Zorro Kimbeku. Nosotros también tenemos un desarrollo bastante amplio de la materia que trata de pasar desde la romanización de la península ibérica, pasando por la formación del derecho castellano, cómo se proyecta este derecho castellano en la realidad indiana, para luego analizar todos los procesos que tienen que ver con el constitucionalismo, la codificación, la administración de justicia ya en el periodo patrio y en el periodo contemporáneo, ¿no?
Rosario,
Bueno,
como faltan 4 minutos para no interrumpirte, vamos a volver a ingresar para que vos termines.
yo termino, así si querés termino
No,
ya.
pero igual, como igual vamos a abrir un poco el debate y vamos a
Bueno,
contar.
cómo no.
Entonces,
¿Salimos?
salimos. Tomasz, we will go out and then re-enter for the last part of Rosario's presentation and to have time to make some questions. ¿Ok? Ok. Entonces salimos y volvemos a entrar para la última parte. Bueno, continuamos entonces con la última parte de esta reunión sobre la historia del derecho en Italia, Polonia y Argentina. Estaba en uso de la palabra la doctora Rosario Polotto, quien estaba hablándonos de la situación en Argentina. Rosario, adelante.
Bien. Bueno, simplemente algunas cuestiones de desafío. Digamos, los estudios historiográficos en Argentina no escapan un poco a la realidad que comentaba Emanuela o Tomasz. Las dificultades, sobre todo en esta inserción en una facultades que cada vez tienen un perfil profesional más acentuado, pero bueno, son desafíos que hay que afrontarlos y bueno, por ahora, digamos, la disciplina no ha perdido la importancia que gozó, ¿no? O sea, y además, en general, dentro de las carreras de Derecho se reconoce la calidad académica de los investigadores de historia del derecho, lo que es un aporte importante, sobre todo para la investigación, para el desarrollo de las clases. Bueno, y ahora los desafíos también son ciertos diálogos interdisciplinarios, teniendo en cuenta también la complejidad del fenómeno jurídico, y que se reflejan en algunas líneas de investigación, como, bueno, el proceso, digamos, el desarrollo del pensamiento constitucional, de las prácticas constitucionales, de la aparición de los códigos, de la modernidad jurídica, de la organización de la justicia, ¿no? Y entonces, bueno, hay algunos desafíos como, por ejemplo, un tema que es recurrente, que ha tenido muchas reflexiones en el ámbito europeo y americano, como es las relaciones entre la historia social, la historia de la justicia, social de la justicia y la historia del derecho, también la historia constitucional, muchas veces cultivada por constitucionalistas, la historia política, las instituciones, y creo que hay un elemento, o sea, un ámbito que es un desafío todavía, con la dogmática jurídica, ya sea la civil, la penal, la constitucional. Creo que esto es una preocupación, por lo menos de mi parte, sobre todo por los temas que investigo, que tienen que ver con la codificación civil, con el pensamiento civil, bueno, lograr que las investigaciones nuestras sean, digamos, un aporte también, no exclusivo, porque me interesa mucho también lo que decía Emanuela, ¿no? Porque también nuestra disciplina tiene una agenda propia, vamos a decir, o sea, no supeditarla solamente a los estudios, al derecho vigente, a la relación con el derecho vigente, pero, digamos, poder entablar diálogos que permitan a la historia del derecho hacer un aporte significativo, sobre todo a la argumentación jurídica, a la formación del pensamiento jurídico, etc. Bueno, y con esto entonces yo termino, agradezco mucho, para mí la verdad que es una alegría muy grande, y bueno, quedo abierta a las preguntas. Gracias.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias a los tres expositores. Thank you very much, Emanuela, Tomasz, Rosario. Y ahora vamos a abrir un espacio para comentarios de la gente que está presente, si quiere hacerlo levantando la mano o por el chat, o inclusive entre los propios expositores. Lo que tenemos que hacer es ponernos de acuerdo en qué idioma, porque me parece que va a tener que ser en inglés la lengua franca, English should be the lengua franca, para que Tomasz por lo menos entienda las preguntas y pueda contestar, o vamos traduciendo, bueno, vamos viendo. ¿Hay alguna pregunta, algún comentario? Doctor Martiré, no lo veo de vuelta. El doctor Martiré lo perdimos en el camino. ¿Hay algún comentario que quiera hacer alguno de los presentes? Veo que ahí está Giselle Jordán Fernández de Cuba. Giselle Fernández, que está de Cuba. Ok, hay una pregunta de Natalia Kosinski para el profesor Kucharski. Natalia, go ahead, please. Turn on your microphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. Before the question, I just would like to say that unfortunately, a professor Alfredo Flores, my advisor professor in master course, could not attend to this event, but he asked me to send his regards to Professors Viviana and Ezequiel. Now the question. Panie profesorze, dobry wieczór. Nazywam się Natalia, bardzo mi miło. Well, I'm pursuing my master's degree in Brazil, and the area of my research is specifically history of law. I'm studying the role of Roman law in Poland during the late Middle Age and the early Modern Age. So, adopting the view of jus communi as shown by the 15th century Romanists and the jurists of Max Planck Institute, and using as well as the legal work of the 16th century decisiones written by Pedro Ruiz de Moras, known in Poland as Piotr Rejsiusz. The purpose of my research is to prove that, despite not being officially adopted due to the maintenance of the Polish independence in the face of the Holy Roman Empire, the influence of Roman law in Polish legal culture is evident. And as you may know, Professor, there are two perspectives of it. One represented by Rafael Tauberschlag, that defends the importance of the influence of Roman law in Poland, and another represented by Adam Vetulani, that claims that it was not influential because it was not officially adopted. Last year, I went to Poland and visited Jagiellonian University. There I had a meeting with Professor Maciej Mikuła, whose professor was Wacław Burczak.
Natalia, could you please sum up? Because we are running out of time. The question, please.
Okay, he said that he agrees with the Svetlana's point of view, but I have to say, however, that I still stay on the side of Augenschlag, because denying the role of Roman law is, for me, denying the history of law, because according to jurists as Kucharski, Viaker, Coin, as well as Tomasz, history of law is history of Europe. So I would like to know your opinion about it and to know which side of this discussion do you agree with. Thank you. Dziękuję bardzo.
To ja dziękuję. Thank you very much. Shortly, because this is very large topic. This argument is older than Vetulanis and Tauberschlag argument. This is also from the very beginning of 19th century, the argument between Tadeusz Czacki and Bankier Stężyński, who argued about this for the first time. And for sure, there are two crucial things. First of all, the identity of Roman law is always connected to the universities. Universities teach legal culture and legal skills and legal thinking through Roman law for a very, very long time. Even England, that tried to cut itself from Roman law, taught Roman law at their universities. So in Poland, Roman law was present, but not prominent. And this is really a problem. When I had this contact with biographies of some members of Polish nobility that finished law, that get law degree from Jagiellonian University, for example, during the 17th century, they didn't know Roman law very well. They knew some quotations, they knew Cicero, but they didn't get this real education in pure, proper Roman law. The second problem is the attitude of the society. Polish society ideologically didn't like Roman law because they thought that Roman law is from the emperor and from Germany, and this is something that they don't like. So this is another problem of attitude that maybe from townsmen who were professors on the universities or tried to do careers in Polish administration, they knew Roman law. Some of them were educated in Roman law, but Polish noble tradition refused it. Maciej Mikuła have this really interesting argument based on his analysis of court records that maybe this influence of Roman law was present, but through canon law. Canon law was present in Poland, was appreciated, was really strongly rooted. And obviously, the connection between Roman law and canon law is strong. So there is influence of Roman law, but only through canon law. And this is actually visible. You can find, if you try to find small influences of Roman law, you will find it. But when you see the legal tradition as a whole, this influence is marginal and not as essential as you would expect. So I am on Vetulani's side, definitely, but it would be interesting to see another perspective.
Bueno, thank you very much for the question and thank you very much for the answer. Muchas gracias por la pregunta y por la respuesta. Hay un montón de cosas que han dicho los expositores que tenemos en común, los historiadores del derecho. Through this presentation, I think that we can come to the conclusion that we share many, many common perspectives on the way legal history should be taught all over the world, all over the world. But anyway, I agree with most of Emanuela's considerations, most of Tomasz Kucharski considerations. We also suffer from the same problems here in Argentina, but I'd like Emanuela to say a few words about the weight that legal history has in Pavia, because you, Emanuela, had told me about how many legal history subjects you teach at Pavia. Could you enlarge, could you please go ahead and speak about the courses you have on legal history at Pavia?
Of course, thank you, Viviana.
Perdón, voy a traducir lo que le pedí a Emanuela, es que nos cuente un poquito la cantidad de clases de historia del derecho que hay en la Universidad de Pavia, porque cuando estuve en Pavia conversamos y me contó de el peso que todavía la disciplina tiene en Pavia. Entonces me gustaría que Emanuela cuente un poquitito los cursos de historia del derecho que hay en la universidad. Cortito, ¿eh? Así después podemos hacerle una pregunta a Rosario. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Viviana. So, in Pavia, I have 5 courses of legal history, and 3 of them are obligatory for students, for law students. And we use the name legal history that covers a lot of subjects. For example, I teach history of commercial law, history of penal law, and for students of the first year of law, I teach history of law from Justinian law to Illuminism, to the 11th century. And so by now we have 5 courses. Most of them are obligatory. Tomorrow, I don't know what will happen.
Grazie mille. Rosario, ¿vos quisieras hacer alguna intervención, conversar? Te dejo el comando a vos.
Yes, I would like to ask 2 questions. One to Emanuela, because I am interested in some things that they talk. You, Emanuela, you have talked about a congress that will be held in May, if possible, of this year. Could you tell us what lines or topics will be discussed in relation to historical legal studies? And then I ask Tomasz.
Yeah, thank you very much. So in Italy, the legal history is reflecting about herself, because we have been linked with Roman history, but Romanists now are expanded their research until 20th century. So we need to define our confines, respect Roman law. And at the same time, we need to confine ourselves from jurists, from positive jurists. So in that Congress, we will talk about our future.
Oh.
We will talk. It's a very important period now for legal history. It's crucial. It's a crucial period now in Italy for legal history. So it will be a congress to talk about the future of our discipline.
Well, then I want to know how then the Congress what you talk in the Congress. So maybe we can.
I won't talk. I won't talk in that Congress. I will be there, but I'm not. I will not talk about it. But Professor Cassi, that Viviana knows very well, will talk in that Congress, and many other historians.
No, I want to know what do you decide about the future of the discipline? So perhaps Viviana could invite you again to talk about the Congress. And Tomasz, I find the lines of the research related to the civil law in your country very interested. So if you could tell us more about them, if you know, and if you talk, can you talk about your research topics? Can you explain, tell more about them?
About civil law, Poland is really unique. Poland is really interesting because we were destroyed at the end of the 18th century, and Poland, or Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, was divided between Germany, Russia, and Austria. And we've got a visit from Napoleon Bonaparte, who left us his code. So when we existed under foreign powers, and after we regained our independence, we had separate legal systems in our country: German, Austrian, French, and Russian. So when we regained our independence, we've got Code Napoleon, we've got ABGB from Austria, we've got BGB from Germany, and we've got this huge code of Russia from 1832. So except ZGB from Switzerland, we've got most of the most prominent civil codes in Poland in force. So this is really interesting because there were lawyers educated in French law, in German law, in Austrian law, and they discussed with one another and they tried to figure out what codes we should have in Poland, and they tried to merge all those codes into one and do new Polish codes. And after that, we've got socialist civil law, which is completely different, which is influenced by Marxism and so on. So we've got mostly on the civil law research on those codes from 19th century in Polish context. So we've got especially works on practice of execution of those codes. For example, Piotr Pomianowski wrote this great book about law on divorce under the Code of Napoleon in practice of Polish codes. We've got many ideas like this. We've got also research, for example, Anna Klimaszewska wrote a few pieces on influence of French doctrine and French court judgments on Polish literature of works of Polish lawyers and Polish courts. Is there French influence or not? Is Polish practice really Polish, or is it just implementation of French rules? Are we build our own Code Napoleon, or we just executed French Code Napoleon? So this is really interesting for us. Is there our Polish law or under those foreign codes, or maybe we just execute those foreign legal systems? And we've got obviously many works on legislation, because this was really a hard Polish problem. Should we replace those codes, German and Austrian and French, by our own Polish codes, or we should keep those great European codes in Poland, or we should choose one of them and just enforce it on the whole Polish territory. So we've got many interesting material about working on Polish codifications. We've got, during interwar period, just code on civil procedure and just code of obligation law, but works were on every single branch of civil law. So this is interesting for Polish researchers, and we've got some works especially about Code Napoleon and its influence on this work on new Polish codes. And we've got really interesting works on socialist civil law. My colleague Anna Moszyńska wrote this great piece about unification of inheritance law. There is great work of Piotr Fiedorczyk on family law and marriage law. So this is the most interesting thing for Polish researchers, civil court records and the specificity of Polish execution of law, and legislation on civil law after regaining of our independence. My research, really shortly, because I talk too much, I know. First of all, my research focus on Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth before 1795. Again, this Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was really unique. We've got, you probably heard about Liberum Veto, you probably heard about this really weird state structure that was democratic in a sense that nobility could rule this country through a representative body. So this is interesting, and I try to do research on that. My doctoral thesis was devoted to elections of the kings. Our king was elected by whole nobility unanimously. They needed to, few thousand men should choose one guy to be the king, and this is really interesting procedure.
Excuse me, Tomasz, we could go on talking, but we are running out of time. I should be in another meeting right now. I should have been,
yes.
Have another
Excuse
go.
me, that's all from me.
So the important thing is to keep in relation, right? To keep in contact, to continue this discussion. So thank you very, very much, Emanuela, Tomasz, María Rosario. Muchísimas gracias, Emanuela, Tomasz, Rosario, por esta magnífica reunión. Esto es el punto de partida para seguir trabajando estos temas que nos convocan. We should go on speaking about this, and thank you very much again. And we are going, we definitely are going to keep in contact. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.